Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I decided to review Ford v Ferrari, a film that just came out recently. Actually before the film that I reviewed last, Jojo Rabbit. So Ford v Ferrari had released before. I decided, you know what, I watched it again for a second time yesterday. I would really like to give my thoughts. Love to hear you guys' opinions as well. So yeah, so Ford v Ferrari, in a very short description, is a film about Ford, of course, trying to compete against Ferrari in a world-renowned race called Le Mans. It's a 24-hour race that takes place in France once a year. And long story short, of course, Ken Miles is the driver that is the one who's going to try and beat them. Carroll Shelby, another huge player. Ken Miles played by Christian Bale. Carroll Shelby played by Matt Damon. And it's just a film that follows what it takes to get up there, how they do it, what happens, and I'm going to be giving my thoughts about it. So, before watching this movie, I knew nothing about the story, nothing about what happens to each of these characters, how the story occurs, or whether or not Ford does beat Ferrari. I really do enjoy how this movie does move, how it flows. The pacing of this film is great. There wasn't really any moment where I was just sitting and just waiting for finally something to occur. There was always something important happening, developing this plot. And I'm going to attribute that to the good writing, to, of course, the director, James Mangold. The last time I'd ever seen James Mangold do anything, honestly, was Logan. I don't even know if he's done anything since then, but I think he does a really good job at helming the story and making it work, even through the very final pieces where it's mostly just racing. There's a lot of opportunity for that just to get repetitive and boring, and it never does get boring. It feels refreshing and it feels exciting every single time. If the dialogue, I really did enjoy the dialogue. Honestly, specifically Ken Miles' character. Maybe that's because it's Christian Bale, but every single time that man was speaking, like that was incredible. I mean, like I was eating up every piece of it. Carroll Shelby, an incredible character as well. I mean, they're also based off real people, but just the way that they're written in this story, very lovable, enjoyable characters. Overall, all the characters are really enjoyable. Henry Ford was fun to watch. John Berthel's character, Ayakoko, was fun to watch. Like the way that these characters interacted with each other, the things that they said. I really enjoyed how this film was written, how the story worked. Speaking of Christian Bale, Matt Damon, John Bernthal, I really like the performances that these people put on. John Bernthal is also one of my favorite actors. I feel like he's like an actor that's like rising through the ranks currently. I really like what he had to do here. He wasn't the biggest part of the movie, but when he was in the film, I really enjoyed his contribution. Christian Bale, Christian Bale is Christian Bale. Like Christian Bale, it's so weird because this is the same man who did Batman. This is the same man who was in American Psycho, The Prestige, Vice. Every single film that this guy does is quite different from the other, and every single film he just somehow doesn't feel like I'm watching Christian Bale. Like knowing that this man did the Batman trilogy, I didn't even see Batman in this film. I saw Ken Miles, somehow wonderfully played by Christian Bale. It's just, the man is a flawless actor, an incredible actor. It feels like he had been playing this character for years, for his whole life. And I don't know, the way that he does it, I mean, he's Christian Bale. There's not much I could say about that. Matt Damon is a really good actor as well. I really like what he has to do with his character. It was a beautiful compliment to Ken Miles' character. I loved Christian Bale so much in this movie. I think he was easily my favorite actor of the year, of this movie. Favorite actor of this movie. Music, Marco Beltrami does a pretty good job. There are a lot of songs that I really do enjoy. A lot of songs that in the film made a really good contribution to the scenes. A few scenes I could think about right now are some of the final racing sequences, of course. I mean, that's really when the music gets exciting and hyped. I'm not gonna really like name tracks right now, but there were, say, like a handful of tracks that felt that were really enjoyable to watch, to listen to in the theater, and even now when I'm just listening to them like on Spotify. beautiful, beautiful score, absolutely. Visuals, I don't really know how to talk about the visuals. The cinematography moments were really good. There was really good cinematography in this film, but I feel like the visuals that I'm thinking about are more so just how, not just the shots and the composition of the shots, but just how things looked inside this movie. How the racing sequences were looking, how everything looked, and it looked excellent. Like everything inside of the GT40, the vehicle that Ken Miles is driving, absolutely, absolutely amazing. I mean, like the way that they showed the shifter, the clutch, the brake, the gas, every single ounce of footage of it that was inside that vehicle was beautiful. And I don't even know how they did those racing sequences, but those racing sequences were, that's cinema magic. Like, I don't know if it's a first, second, third act kind of film. I'm not sure, but if it is, if it isn't, I'll just say the final third. The final third of this film is, to me, flooring. Like, that's the final third is obviously when the real stuff is happening. That's when they're at Le Mans, and holy crap! Like, the way the racing sequences are made, I don't know the word for it, so I called it choreography earlier when I was describing it to my friends. So I'm just gonna call it choreography. I'm sure you know what I'm trying to talk about. Just the way that the cars were. I don't know, the way we were described to race, or whatever you want to say. The choreography of these vehicles, incredible. The racing sequences were just so fun to watch, gripping at many moments. I don't really want to get into too many scenes because I guess I'll try to keep these reviews spoiler free. But there are definitely a few scenes that I'll never forget when I think about this film. Incredible scenes. I think one thing that's important to think about this film, and films that are like this in general, at least when they're like niched almost, like this is like, people would call this like a car film, I guess. I don't think it's a film that requires you to really love cars. Like, I did preface this by saying that I do like cars a lot, and that made me enjoy it even more. But this is not a film that requires you to love cars going into it. One of my best friends is not really a big car fan. I mean, it's like whatever to him, and he loved this movie, and he was able to understand, like, you don't have to, like, what happens in this movie is not just about the cars moving fast and the cars downshifting, although that's an incredible aspect of the film. Like I said, the visuals and the choreography of the vehicles, so fun to watch, but that's not what makes the movie great. Like, it's what these cars are doing, and you don't have to love cars to understand what that means. You could relate it to anything. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a film. It's a story about victory. What does that mean? What does it take? What are people willing to do? And how does it feel when you achieve that? It's a beautiful way of telling that story. And like I said, you don't have to be a car enthusiast to enjoy what that story or what that theme is, because it's just told in such a good way that the cars are just the cherry on top, in my opinion. James Mangold does an excellent job, I think, of bringing all these aspects I just named together. Like, first of all, casting these characters. Christian Bale, Matt Damon, like I said, amazing. And just the way that the story moves, the dialogue. There are so many quotes that I think about when I think about this film. The story, the music, the visuals, all this kind of stuff. I mean, and of course the racing sequences. Like, I cannot emphasize how much I enjoyed those. James Mangold does it again, I think. He's a really good director, and I'm excited to see what he has to do next. So I guess overall, the film is an incredible film. I like this movie a lot. It may even be the most exciting film I've seen all year. Not saying it's my favorite of the year, but I definitely think it was the most fun I've been in a theater all year. And I'm gonna give this 4.5 stars. I think that's a good rating. I really enjoyed this movie. It was really fun. It's fun and serious at the same time. Beautiful balance. It's just a really enjoyable movie that I've seen twice, and I would love to see it again, but not soon. But it's a really enjoyable film. It's a rewatchable film that I think is a really good quality of films. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully I was able to be a little bit more understandable in comparison to my last video. As always, please, if you have any suggestions for any other films I should review, any comments, any criticisms, please let me know down there. Yeah guys, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Until then, take care.